All right, guys. It sounds like Greg was, just talking about some of those statistics, and you know, again, the margin for error for us is so small. But the reason we have been able to have some success was, if you look defensively, even though we have labored, red zone defense, I think we're 19th in the country. We may be hanging by a thread down there, but we found a way in the red zone. And Saturday night was a good example over in Honolulu. We've been able to just hang by a thread. But red zone defense, we're 19th. And in the other one, the most impressive one to me, is 12th in the country in gain turnovers. We're 12th in the country in forcing turnovers. We kind of hang by a thread on defense. Red zone and turnovers are critical for our success. And then on offense, obviously rushing offense number 7, time of possession number 11 in the country. That all works hand in hand. And then, time of possession on offense is critical as well. And then as a team, the penalty thing, where we're 20th in the country, 20th as far as fewest yards penalized per game. So that's us. That's what we are. Turnovers, forcing turnovers, red zone defense, run the ball on offense, use the clock on offense, and try to find a way to steal a possession in the game. We've had 3 weeks in a row where our special teams forced a turnover. With that said, if there's one, I wouldn't call it disappointment, but one area that we need to just get more consistent and get better, special teams. We have, we've done some good things. You take kickoff return, for instance. We've had the 2 long scores, but we've also put ourselves in just really bad field position on kickoff return at times. So we've been inconsistent. Been good, we've been bad. Kickoff coverage, we forced 3 fumbles on kickoff coverage, but yet we give up a 106-yard touchdown run, and we've also given up some pretty decent returns. So we've done some good things, but we've been overall way too inconsistent. Punt, net punt, we're something like 70th. We should be better. We had to punt block at Texas. So special teams, I wouldn't call it a disappointment, but to follow the formula we have right now to win, we have to become better and more consistent in special teams. We've got Casey Carriers on our starting punt team. We've got some good players on our special teams. We do have some young guys on there. Bundy's recovered a fumble 2 weeks in a row. But, we're a pretty simple plan to win. That plan's never going to change. But the kicking game is one thing I think we have to just pick up our productivity. Air Force, you talk about maximizing your talent. They're a very, very well-coached football team. Tremendous respect for what they do. They're number 2 in the nation in rushing, number 2 rusher in the country. Little number 28 is a heck of a player. He's probably 5'7", maybe 175 pounds. Heck of a player. Keep in mind, Casey Carrier is only 177 pounds, carrying the ball 30 sometimes a game for us. So it puts it in perspective. But really a good tailback. Their offense is really impressive. I think they're 20th in the country in total offense. How they do things is it's fun to watch. Not fun to defend, but fun to watch. So it's a big challenge. Obviously, I kind of look at the little things. You go back and playing at Texas Tech, I talked about back then how difficult that is. West Virginia just found out how difficult that is. They beat Texas in Austin. They go to Texas Tech and they give up close to 700 yards like we did, and got beat actually worse than we did in Lubbock, Texas, going back-to-back weeks. Then you look at us, obviously, Honolulu, all that entails, and then going to play who we're playing this week. That's That's tough back to back, but that's what it is. But each week it's a different challenge. This week for us, it's practice a little less time on the field, but with more urgency. And the thing I talked about with our team was no dead wood. We need everybody in this program, everybody, to be more efficient starting this week. We're going to spend less time on the field because we've played 8 straight weeks, and then we have 5 straight after this. So we've got to get more accomplished, be more precise. We need more people being at 100% of their game, whether it's scout squad guys, whether it's graduate assistants running the scout squads. Less time, but more proficient in what we do. And we just have to get better. We have to find a way to get better. Because from here on out, every team we play I see as an improving team, and I see as all good teams left on this schedule. But we should be better as it goes too. But we have got to become just more efficient in everything we do. So that's kind of a lot of talking, but any questions, guys?
What's the latest status on Cole Gauchi?
Yeah, Cole returned yesterday, really symptom-free. I really appreciate Dave Binder, also our doctor, staying over in Honolulu. Although I did kid Binder, he looked a little sunburnt when he got back yesterday, so he must have snuck out of that hotel a little bit. But I appreciate people like Dave Binder and our doctors that would volunteer to stay with the young man. I also appreciate what Hawaii did. They were unbelievable. We had 2 players that went to the hospital, Jake Carr and Cole Gauchi. They were incredible, helping us with getting them over there, helping us with Dave Binder and the doctor getting there. I was going to stay, but Jake Carr was released and was able to travel back with us. They had me set up with transportation. They helped us with the hotel where the guys stayed. Just from A to Z, Hawaii people were unbelievable. And Dave Binder, that's the first thing he said when he walked in. So Cole made it back. He didn't practice or meet yesterday. He's being evaluated this morning. I haven't heard the results yet. And he'll go through the standard battery of tests that you do with concussions. So to say whether he's doubtful, probable, it's too early to tell. I'll know a lot more this afternoon. But no new symptoms, and really hadn't had any symptoms since he left the field Saturday night. So that's good news.
You mentioned the size of running back Casey Carrier only being 5'8". Are you concerned at the pounding that he takes and how much?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because we were talking last night, and I was in with the defensive coaches, and I said, because we were talking about Air Force's running back, who's probably 170, 175 pounds, and plays his rear end off. The kid is number 28. He is an unbelievable player. And I said, well, the thing about Casey, Casey looks a lot bigger than him. I said, I'm guessing Casey's probably 190 pounds or 193 pounds. So when I went in and asked DeAndre, and DeAndre said he's 177 pounds. And we got the weights today, they weigh in yesterday. He was 176 pounds yesterday. But he looks thicker. When you grab him, he's a rocked up guy, but he's only 177 pounds, and he gains his yards between the tackles. And he carried the ball over 30 times last week against a very physical defense. He looks a little thicker than that, but that's what he weighs. But he is a physical guy. He's a tough kid. And I saw that in the spring, and he was able to bounce through the hamstring injury, and he's impressive. He's impressive. 2 really good running backs in this game, about the same size.
Regarding kickoff return, you haven't had Chase back there. Is that because is he not 100% yet because of the shoulder?
He's going to be back there again. We're playing with maybe Chase and Carlos Wiggins back there. We've had Anaya back there. It hasn't been the returners. It's been we've botched some little things that we shouldn't. Like we had a double team against Hawaii. We didn't get to double team. The guy makes a play. If we get that double team, we probably, like on all those kickoff returns, it's about that much difference between really successful and not. Chase, is probably going to be back there again this week.
Coach, what does Air Force's offense do that makes them so effective?
It's kind of like the Texas Tech of the world that's been in that scheme for so long, that the bank of things they have that they can do and get to quickly based on what you play is remarkable. You know, they don't have to have practiced things during the week to be able to dust it off to match up to what you're doing. And that's unbelievably impressive to me. So they're a true triple option core team. They start with the triple option, but they've expanded so much to take advantage of their personnel. You know, you'll see a lot of toss sweep to number 28 because he's really kind of an eye tailback. You'll see some counter play with him running it. They're able to tweak their scheme based on what you play and what their personnel is, but they have the totality to do it all. I mean, and it's remarkable. You know, I think, and a lot of people try to be like them, but when you look closely, it's really hard to be like them. First of all, the mindset of the players they get are a little bit different than the mindset of the players everybody else gets. Second of all, the number of players they have on the practice field, maybe 160 or something, I'm not sure, but it's a lot of players. They don't have the roster limitation. So when you're in an execution style offense like they're in, they get so many more reps in practice than any of us get because they have so many more numbers of players out there. And then the number of coaches they have. You know, there's not an NCAA limit on coaches. And they maximize everything they do, and they get the most out of their players. And that's really the model for us, trying to do it in a little different scenario to be able to do what they do. And I mean that without any, I'm not trying to hype anybody. I'm just putting the tape on and watching and seeing how they do things. It is very impressive, very impressive.
Any similarity between the way they run the triple option and the way you run the
No.
triple?
No, the concept of having, we call it 3 players in the core, so you have a third facet to the running game. The numbers part of it is the same, but the way they do it is really totally different. Just the blocking schemes, the suddenness in which they do it because they're under center, the footwork, so it's the same numerical thing, but it looks totally different when you put the tape on. But at least there's a starting point for us to know numbers, how you want to match up. But it's really pretty dramatically different when you look at it from a coaching standpoint.
Coach, the rest of them are conference games all the way out. Can you just talk about how competitive the conference is and trying to get things done?
Yeah, I can look at it, step by step, even though we narrow the focus and look at it one at a time. I see what Air Force is and how difficult it is to go into Colorado Springs and beat them. I look at Fresno. Fresno may be the most balanced team in this conference right now. They're something like 29th on defense and 22nd on offense. They've got a lot of good players and good schemes. They may be the most balanced. UNLV, without a doubt, is a improving football team. Offensively, they have made major strides. Very balanced, pro-style, physical, good skill guys, good young quarterback. Then you have Wyoming coming in here that they're a little more offense right now than defense. They played their backup quarterback. He was outstanding last week. Then you go Nevada. We've watched Nevada every week. Nevada is #1 rusher in the country. And then you have Colorado State, who really played San Diego State pretty good. So you look at these next 6 games, we're the underdog in every game. I'll tell you right now, we will be the underdog in every game we play. And that's why my message to our players is we have to get better. We have to get better to have a chance to win another game. It's that simple. We will be the underdog in every game we play from here on out. Not that we've been in the favorite in many that we've played yet, but we have to get better because I look closely at this conference and I see there may not be that team out there that's just the dominant team, but there's a lot of teams out there right now that are better than we are, and that's the reality of it.
What do you see from Air Force's defense?
They're an odd front. By that I mean they're a 3-4 defense. They slant and angle. They drop 8 in coverage a lot, which I don't know that affects us. They're a team that's schematic, kind of like their offense. They're looking for that little bit of edge in everything they do. So the true 3-4 that's balanced, where they can go this way or go this way, they feel like that gives them an advantage. It's a schematic kind of defense. They've got a lot of smart guys, and they do a good job schematically. We're about the same statistically as them on defense, but because their offense is no huddle, they've played a lot more plays on defense. So it's a little bit deceiving. Even though our stats are about the same, they're better than us statistically. It's just we haven't played as many plays on defense as they have.
Are they better against the run than they are in the pass?
I don't know. That'd be a good question. I'm not sure actually.
Coach, coming out of spring ball, did you envision being 4-3 this time of year?
You know what? You guys know, just like now, I'm not looking ahead to say we can be this or that 6 games from now. It's literally each and every week just trying to find a way to put us in position to win a game. To say we could be this after all this dust settles 6 games from now, or we could be that, that's silly talk.
Taking better to what you wanted to do than you thought they would?
Yeah. Now, what I will say is, from an identity standpoint, for me to be able to stand up here today and say, turnovers, we're number 12 in the country in gain turnovers. We're number 11 in time of possession. We're number 7 in the nation in rushing offense. We're number 20th in the least penalized team in the country. Those are things that we're most proud of. It's too early for us to be proud of or be disappointed in the total numbers of wins and losses. We're not good enough yet to be in that conversation, quite honestly. Now, the fact that we have won more than we lost, great. I'm more worried about the identity of what we're forming, the foundation of what we're forming. And the answer is yes. I think these kids have bought into an unselfish, team-first attitude. They are disciplined. Look at the penalties. They are physical. Look at the rushing yardage. Rush defense, we're about 50th. They haven't quit. They've hung together. Look at how we bounced back from Texas Tech after getting beat. We were able to go to Las Cruces and win. It was 25-0 against Boise. We came back in the second half. Look at it, Hawaii, when it was on the skids. We were able to bounce back, so they haven't quit. So I go back to those things they told me when I walked in here. There was no discipline. There's discipline, okay? There were guys that quit. I don't see anybody quitting. And there were divisions on the team. I see an unselfish team. I see Lamar Thomas that hadn't caught a pass in how many weeks? I see Ty Kirk, who hadn't caught a ball. I see Quintel Solomon, hadn't caught a ball. I see him crying after the game in the locker room. So the things that we can control, I think we've been able to control. It's too early for us yet to control how many we're going to win, we're going to lose. I promise you that. So yeah, we're on step to build a foundation.
Coach, there's no denying that there's a buzz in town, and those of us who do talk radio hear this all the time, that their expectations have changed. Do you try to manage that, or do you just...
You know what? I haven't thought about it, but just off the top of my head, what I would say is, when I said, don't wait to see how many we win, come out and watch this team and grow with this team and appreciate the things like outwork, out-hit, and out-discipline. Don't come because we won last week or we lost last week, or it's too early for that. Come for what you see starting to be identified as what we are. Outwork, out-hit, out-discipline. Don't, and I know fans are fans. Try to look at it like I look at it. Appreciate those things. We're 3 years away. We're 3 years away from worrying about, are we going to a bowl game? Are we this? Are we that? One-loss record? We're still in the phase of outwork, out-hit, out-discipline. And if there's a buzz, the buzz should be for those things I talked about, not the things that we're 4-3. That's so fragile right now. It's the bigger picture of what the foundation is being built. Does that make sense? Don't get caught up in 4-3, 3-4. Are we going to be this? Or are we going to be that? It's too early. I mean, that's 3 years from now. It's 3 years from now.
Air Force is third in the nation in pass efficiency, which you would
Yeah.
expect. Does that make them that
Great point. That's the thing that's impressive that we haven't been able to get. You look at the Wyoming game. Wyoming played them pretty good, option. They had two 50-yard touchdown passes. They've been able to get the big home run off play action, off the triple option, and we have not been able to do that. I'm talking about the big one. You know, we've had some little hits in there. That's the thing that I'm really impressed with. When they throw it, something good happens. And they don't throw it many times, but when they do, there's usually a guy running wide open down that middle of that field. And that's a major concern.
Coach, you mentioned Casey Carrier playing on the punt coverage team and also Michigan being 3 years away. As you look at the starters offensively and defensively playing on special teams, do you see that being something that will continue with additional depth or something you'd rather not?
It's a great point. You know, there's a plan to everything. The reason we slow it down on offense and use that clock is because Casey Carey's on the punt team. Freddie Young and Joe Stoner are on the kickoff team. And I could keep going. Lucas Reed's on the punt team. The total number of plays we're going to play in a 13-game schedule with no open dates, with the limited roster we have. From day one, it's been about slowing it down and playing less snaps this season and hopefully any other team in college football because of the situation we're in. Now, moving forward, we're always going to have really good guys on special teams. You know, but hopefully we can let it rip and snap the ball more times because we have more depth, either to take that good player out on offense. If Casey Carey's on the punt team, then you don't want Casey Carey in there every snap carrying it 33 times. So it'll all kind of fit in there together, but always the best players on special teams. It's just right now, if they're on special teams, then you better not be snapping the ball a bunch of times because at some point it's gonna cave in on you.
Coach, I'm a numerical guy myself.
Pardon me?
I'm a numerical kind of a guy. Would you tell us on a scale of 1 to 10 where the team would be right now?
You know what? You're numerical, man. You figure that out. That's what they're paying you that big money for, man. I'm not. I just. I can't do that.
10
You know.
being amazing.
I'm not going there. You judge us. That's your call, man. You rank us. You know, I don't know.
Coach, I don't know if this is something you can measure, but how would you, from maybe when spring ball started to now, the mental toughness of your team?
That's the first thing I talked about yesterday. First thing I talked about. I went back through. We lose 45-0 at Texas, even though we felt we played pretty good. We go to Texas Tech, and we hadn't stopped them yet. But you know what? We went to Las Cruces and played our butt off. It shows a pretty good mental toughness. It's 25-0 against Boise. Came back in the second half, outscored them 29-7. Yesterday I looked, we had one guy with Ben Hilgard yesterday that couldn't practice. And we got a whole list of guys that have injuries all the way down the list, but they all practice. Hawaii, momentum was slipping. We were tired. The crowd was coming, the whole deal. We were able to withstand that, take that ball down there and score. That's bigger to me than all those other things. We don't have kids missing class. We have kids going to study hall. That's more important to me than are we 4-3 or 3-4 or whatever that is.
And could you, I mean,
That's
can
why.
you point anything, I mean, this is why they are that way now? Or
Well, I think it's
simulations?
been a major plan. I mean, it's been asking them to do things they never did before. And then Jamal Price is the perfect example. Jamal Price would be the perfect example. And I'm not going to go into details. But again, you've heard me say, off the field, from where he was to where he is. And then you watch him play the whole second half and play the way he played. That's Jamal Price. That's the guy in the spring that, I mean, you didn't even know if you could get a snap out of Jamal Price or he'd even be here. That was Jamal Price playing every snap in the second half. And I'm more impressed with what he's done off the field because I know I've been in this long enough. There's a direct correlation between what you do off that field and what you do on the field. And if they don't do it off the field, they're not going to get on the field for me. Nobody's going to hold us hostage and play in that game if they don't do it right. Because I'm not doing that, period. So
How did you change that?
it's a lot of stuff, you know. It's a lot of stuff, you know, that could just go back to the spring and look at all those things we talked about. All right, guys, we good? Appreciate it.